Bingo. One Vex, one rod. Good ride shotgun.
Oh shoot, I'm late. He's gonna be mad. I don't have an auger, I don't have bait. I'm hungry.
All right, we're just getting set up. Pout fishing is the name of the game. Like, this is the best, the absolute best time of year. I lose sleep right now because I'm so excited to get out here, catch some of these big eel pout. And right now is like prime time. We're at the beginning of March. They're just about ready to spawn. I'm hoping that we get into some really big fish tonight. Hold on. Dude, where are you?
Yeah, I know. I'm on my way.
Well, you gotta get out here because it's like prime time right now.
Heck, I'm speeding.
Well, don't speed too fast. I don't want you to get pulled over and I want you to be safe, but get out here, man.
Hang on. Yeah, I'll be there.
Okay, we'll see you soon.
All right, see you in a bit.
Okay, bye. That was him. All right. Now, like I was saying, this is the absolute best time to get out here. I'm thinking that we're gonna get some daytime burbs. We're gonna get some nighttime burbs. I mean, literally you could stay out all night if you wanted to. Try to make my chin not look fat. Yeah, get out of Chin City. Oh, geez.
I like where he's fishing.
What took you so long?
I had to work. You got auger for me?
I got an auger.
Did you get me some minnows?
I did. I got the minnows.
How about bringing that good stuff? Thought we talked about thin mints. Okay, well, let's go fishing.
Jason's goal is and when I say Jason, I'm talking about that Jason. I'm not talking about myself. His goal is to catch a 20-pound eelpout. I don't have the same goal. I just want to catch the state record.
Have you caught any yet?
Out deep, we caught zeebs and a dead crayfish that was covered with them.
That's gross.
It was really gross.
Are you walleye fishing or pout fishing? That's how you're gonna jig tonight? Right.
I have a light spoon on.
I'm gonna crush you.
I didn't know we were having a tournament.
Crush your hopes and your dreams.
I was so aggressive.
Embarrass you in front of your mom.
My mom will love me no matter what.
So I lied, I do have a little bit of bait left.
Oh no. Oh,
If you want to use some sucker minnows.
I think I'm good. I brought some live fish. I almost threw up looking at that.
I should clean that up before it gets warm.
Oh.
Before spring.
He was driving around with that in his Suburban. Just like driving around like it's no big deal. That's gross.
That'll work. Should I pop some of these deeper ones now?
Yeah, I'd probably just open up all the holes that are out here. There's only like 40.
I'll do like 8. I'll do a few of them for you.
So one really important thing, because we fish open ice a lot, and you'll see that the temperature decreases dramatically once the sun goes down. You really have to be aware of just like your line management. So as you continually are lifting up and down, pounding that bottom, you'll start to accumulate ice on your line. And if you get a fish on then and you've got a bunch of ice there, you start to crank in, it'll get hung up on your line guides, it'll get caught up in your reel, and you don't want to be messing around with that while you're fighting a fish. It's a good way to lose one. So just periodically you have to just grab onto the line and just shuck that down. If you get it down and bunched up and drop it below the surface, a lot of times it kind of melts off. Other times you can just stick the line in your mouth if you want to and melt it off, but a lot of times I'm just ripping it off of there. But then making sure too, like once I catch a fish, if I set my rod down and it's in the slush, if you get any little chip of ice or anything in your reel, again, it's going to freeze up and you get a big fish on, and that's a perfect way to lose it. So you just want to take care of all of those variables so it's not impacting what you're actually catching. Even just like clearing ice out of the hole periodically, or making sure that you don't have a lot of slush right at the surface of the hole. When I drill holes, I always knock down that slush pile because I don't want to have to reach down a long way to get to that fish. I want it to be as close as possible.
That's a secret. We won't tell Jason that. I've been playing with scent for years, but when they're eating crayfish, it just makes sense to use crayfish scent. I don't know if it helps or not, but it sure makes me feel better, a little more confident. Gives me the edge. One more bite, one more fish that Jason ain't gonna catch. Beauty evening.
It is nice. There's no wind.
No wind.
That's the big thing. Last night it blew hard. This is the time of year when there's still a lot of snow on the lake, and as it starts to melt, you can get in a bad situation with slush, breaking through on drifts. You just have to be really, really careful to make sure that you can get back to shore. So a lot of times we bring 2 vehicles. We always have tow straps. We always have shovels. It's a really important thing. So our goal tonight, catch a bunch of fish, have a good time, stay as late as we want. We might be tired for work tomorrow, but it's okay. These windows of opportunity are somewhat short. And even though we fish eelpout all winter long, now is definitely prime time for it. So you've got fish that are on the verge of spawning, or some of them probably already are. And when we get into that period, you'll see where it transitions from solely a evening bite, or maybe you catch a few fish during the day, to where it actually transitions into a day bite, where you can go out in the middle of the day and you'll catch more fish than you would as you hit dusk.
Yeah, so like Jason was just saying, you know, we're kind of in that time of year right now where the fish are spawning and the typical night bite transitions into the day. So we're obviously looking for spawning areas. Now we're keying on hard bottom, shallower water, next to deep water, looking for those sharp breaks, but hard bottom, gravel is what they're gonna be spawning on. So that's what we were looking for. And as I'm jigging and pounding this jig off the bottom, I can feel that it's a harder bottom, and I know I'm in a high productive area.
I mean, it's so magical to get out, catch eelpout all day long. And then when the hardcore eelpout anglers come in the evening, they really don't have good success. So just taking advantage of that bite and that daytime bite is incredibly magical.
I started eelpout fishing 15 years ago, and it was after that when I met Jason and I introduced him to the sport and to the fish, and we quickly formed a really tight bond just as friends, and then it kind of really developed over these fish getting together and fishing these fish. And one of the biggest reasons I love fishing for eelpout is, one, they fight really hard and they're fun to catch, but two is the social aspect of it. You notice we're out here fishing outside. It's late February, early March. Typically we get really nice weather. I mean, for winter in Minnesota, nice weather. And you get to fish outside and talk and be social. Like today it's just him and I fishing, but a lot of times when we're out here, it's with a group of buddies. Heck, just this last weekend, I had a group of 9 guys out on the ice, and you can really cover a piece of structure and break it down real quick when you get a big group like that. It's eelpout fishing, I think, is made to be outdoors and social.
So I hate to admit it, but I never would have eelpout fished and targeted this species if it wasn't for Jason. I mean, he reached out to me actually on social media. I know it sounds kind of creepy, but he literally had to drag me out. I wasn't that interested in it. And when we went that first time, not only did I have an absolute riot, but we just hit it off immediately and we've been hanging out ever since. And I tell you what, if you've never fished for eelpout before, even if you think, I don't think I'm gonna like it, give it a try, because it is so much fun. I mean, like Jason said, just the time. I mean, we're gonna be looking at daylight saving time coming up here. So then it's light until like 8 o'clock or 8:30 at night. You don't have to get out here super early to take part in it. It's really for the working person, that you can get done with work, go home, have dinner with the family. You can still get out here and catch some fish. The challenge though, is that you do end up staying up really, really late. And it's hard to leave when you're continually seeing fish or catching fish. It's hard to leave a good solid bite. And sometimes you have to force yourself to do that. Last night when I left the lake, I had already reeled in and I was going to pull my electronics out and a fish came in. And I really wanted to just drop down one more time. But what a great activity to take part in and tangle with some big fish. Once you have that closed to the game fish season, you can no longer target walleye, you can no longer target pike. You can catch big eelpout and they give a great tussle. Oh, there we go. We're on. Hey. That one hit it right on the bottom. So I never saw it on my sonar. You always have a dead zone that you're working with. And so my bait was actually laying on the bottom when it hit. It's not a big one, but it's an eelpout. And they like to get wrapped up in the hole. This one breached, so it's actually coming up backwards. Come on, buddy. Hello, friend. They are such a cool fish. You got to see the spots on this one. And they're just like a bass. I mean, you can lip them. They don't have sharp teeth or anything. But look at those cool spots. I mean, every one of these fish is different. They're unique in their own way. Look at those big spots on this side. It's so cool. And one thing you'll notice too is you can really see this pronounced lateral line here. And I think eelpout are very, very receptive to that whole vibration and sound. I think that plays a big role in them being able to find a fish, because look at their eyes. Look how tiny their eyes are. I don't think that they have really great eyesight, but you know, using that other sense with their lateral line, I think definitely helps. And this one isn't huge, but it's a decent fish. It's always fun to catch one like this. I mean, think about it. If you caught a walleye this size, you'd be like, oh yeah, that's a beauty. Let's let him go. Oh, wait. So you notice this too on its belly where it's kind of roughed up there. You know, it's been in those rocky areas. They travel tight to the bottom, and especially as they're getting close to the spawn, I mean, they're going to be thrashing around down there. Not to mention they feed on crayfish so much that, you know, they'll rummage down in those rocks. And of course out here there's zebra mussels too, so they can easily get cuts on their underside. Oh. See you, friend. Yeah. Hey Jason, how many have you caught?
Yeah.
And then you gotta warm up your hands.
How big was it?
Oh, giant, probably like 12 pounds. I gotta warm up my hand. Ooh. The other thing about this time of year is they start to bunch up. So when you catch one like that, you want to get down fairly quickly again, because there's a good chance there's going to be another one nearby. So we've got golden shiners here. There's a lot of different minnows that'll work. So I split it in half and then I'm hooking the tail section on to kind of keep the head on. That tail meat is really, really dense. And then I like to glow it up in my glow ring here for a few seconds as I get my gloves back on. Looks pretty slick to just hang it on here. Let it charge up as I dry off my hands, get my gloves back on. Thing is, you know, you're splitting minnows in half with your thumbnail. You got scales all over. You're wiping them on your pants, on your shirts. I mean, everything just stinks. And it's awesome. All right, let's do it again. Joe, Joe. Oh, shoot. Come on, eat it again. It chased it up once, and then it hit it on the bottom, but I totally missed the fish. Oh, he's still down there. Come on, buddy. Oh, it's chasing it up. Here we go. 2 of them. Yeah! Gosh, I love this. When you have 2 of them chasing it, like, they're competitive. They're going to fight over it. And this is not a big one. Come here, friend. Oh. Easy, easy, easy. There we go. Just a little one. You can't tell if it's a male or a female just based on its shape or anything like that. The only way you can tell is if there's anything coming out of it. And this time of year, it's not uncommon to catch one that you know what gender it is. This one's got kind of a strange head where it's pointed down quite a bit. It's got that weird bump on it. I want to let this one go quick because there's another one down there. Jay, right.
How close are you gonna let me drill a hole?
You seen any? Have you seen any fish?
I got denied just on that inside hole inside you.
Do you want to drop down my hole?
No. But if that's gonna be a thing, I'm gonna drill right next to you.
Well, there's another hole right there.
Let me roll the window down so I can hear you. Come on, fish. It's still not quite dark, so. Nearing the bite.
So when you're working with these areas of dead zone, you try to run your gain as low as you can and still be able to see your spoon and everything, because you want to see those kind of gaps, or if you're fishing big boulders, that you can see some break in that bottom. And a lot of times when those eelpout come in right along the bottom, you'll see the bottom just kind of start to wiggle a little bit, and that's a pretty good indicator that there's actually a fish there. Problem is, fishing after dark, sometimes you'll accidentally bump your ice deucer float with your line, or if there's ice buildup on it, and then the bottom will move and you'll get super excited. Oh, I think there's a fish in there. And in reality, you just messed up.
There's a few different things now that we've switched and the sun is set and it's getting real dark out. Jace just put his headlamp on. I've got the headlamp in the truck. You got to have some light to be prepared for fishing after dark. And then it's really important to make sure you're glowing up your lure, your bait, whatever you happen to be using, glowing it up frequently, because those fish are going to be able to pick that up and key in on that. They can't see well, but they can sure pick that glow-in-the-dark bait up after dark. And I've got some rattles modded onto this particular jig, trying to make some noise and attract them and call them in from a little bit of a distance. I prefer a longer rod. As you see, Jason's been kneeling a bunch. My knees are shot and it's very difficult for me to kneel down. So I like to stand and fish, use a longer rod. 1, because I'm standing up. 2, I've got the ability to absorb those big head shakes when you do hook into a nice big eel pout. Having that long stiff rod with a lighter tip to absorb those head shakes, keep that hook in them, and land those big eel pout.
Fish.
My
Fish.
leisure outdoors, burbot hat.
Fish, Joe.
Joe, fish.
This was kind of a secret technique that we don't talk about a lot. We're always talking about pounding the bottom. That's a nice fish. It's just a fat one. It's not that big, it's just fat. Oh! A little secret technique that we don't talk about a lot because we're always talking about pounding the bottom, constantly pounding the bottom with your bait. But we do dead stick quite a bit. I wouldn't say quite a bit, periodically. There's times where these fish will come in when you've got the bait suspended just like a foot or 2 feet up off the bottom. I actually had my rod sitting in my glow ring, and I watched this fish come up off of the bottom, and I never touched my rod. I didn't try to jig it up or anything. I thought, let's just see if it eats it, and it did. I watched my rod tip tink, and it never let go. Look how chubby that thing is. And you can't tell, again, if this is a male or female. Sometimes if you squeeze on their belly a bit, you get a little bit of a sign, but not quite ready to spawn yet, but cool fish. See you, friend. Yeah. Heck yeah. Let's do it again. Do it again. So it's kind of funny, like last night I was having the same thing where those fish really weren't responding well necessarily to the movement. And so many of them came in just as I left the bait suspended off the bottom. Hey, if it works, do it for sure. But then there's other nights where you never get them like that. The only way you get them is pounding the bottom. You never see a fish on the sonar. You get them all just tight pinned to the bottom. But whatever we got to do to catch them. I got to get my hands wet to put more bait on.
Waiting for him to go bonkers. There he goes. They always do this stuff right at the bottom of the ice. Come up backwards. There's a bird pout. Pretty one. Look how dark that one is. Each one's so cool. They all look a little different. Ready to spawn. I don't know if Jace touched on it, but they've got such a prominent lateral line. Especially as they get bigger, you can really see it. And it sticks out a little bit. But here's the most important thing with these fish. As I've fished these fish for over 15 years now, I'm really happy to see the popularity and the respect they're getting, but with no limits and them being so vulnerable during the spawn, it's so important to do this. Let those babies go. Let them grow, let them spawn. In my reading and research on eelpout, I found an article out of Europe. And the eggs, once they hatch now, or once they lay their eggs, it takes 4 to 6 weeks for them to hatch. That's a long time to be down there and not get eaten by a perch, or a whitefish, or a cisco, or a crayfish. There's so many things that can eat them. They're just laying there. They're vulnerable for 4 to 6 weeks before they hatch. So letting these fish go and letting them reproduce so my kids and your kids and grandkids can catch these fish in the future. It's catch and release is important to me, and I hope everybody respects the fish and the resource. Daddy's on the board.
So the thing is, when you caught that fish,
You marked one?
yeah, and it hit, but it just like nipped the tail of my minnow. And
This one bit really goofy. It nipped me a couple of times. I couldn't see it. Now I gotta get up. Old and broken.
so when I first started eelpout fishing, we were using really heavy spoons and jigs, and we still do. But a bait that I've really liked and gravitated towards now, it's my go-to, is the clam ribbon leech flutter spoon. Now, this is kind of the antithesis of what we talk about when we're pounding bottom for eelpout and trying to disrupt the bottom, trying to get those fish to come in from a distance. This bait is light, but the advantage is it really kicks out to the side a lot, and it's got a little blade on it that really flutters a lot. And I just see the reaction from those fish as being super positive. But you're not feeling that constant thump, thump, thump on the bottom. You just have to be used to just that lighter presentation and shaking it more. I'm shaking my rod tip more. Of course, when I put it in that dead stick position, I'm just suspending it above the bottom a little bit. What I like is that paint is super, super bright. It's so luminescent. When you charge it up, it stays charged for a long time. And the other thing is, because you're jigging it a lot, it's actually twisting up your line some. And we always run a swivel to help eliminate some of that line twist. But when you stop it and you just suspend it, it's spinning slowly. And I think that flash kind of helps out a little bit. But I love it when those fish start chasing this spoon too, and I start shaking it. They come aggressively. I can get them to come really high off of the bottom and absolutely demolish that spoon. So the rod that I'm using is the Clam 34-inch Scepter Carbon. I like the light tip on it. I can really feel those bites, and the fish don't feel me, which is really important. I think people go too heavy on their rods a lot. And if you fish for walleye at all, you can take that same equipment and utilize that for eelpout fishing. So, oh, that was a fish. We're gonna catch a fish here, Joe. Here it comes, here it comes. Come on, buddy. Come on. Oh, yeah, it's gonna come crush it. No, come on. Oh! I had that fish like, oh, it wants it bad. It did. Wait, we're not out of it yet. Doggone it. It hit the minnow, it just didn't get the hook. I had that thing 8 feet off of the bottom. Oh, here it comes. Are you joking me? That's called redemption right there. My gosh, this is not a big fish though. Oh, get off of there. This one was just silly. I mean, it wanted that bait so bad. Come on. That's the thing about eelpout, they'll come up backwards out of the hole. I love these gloves, by the way, because they're 100% waterproof. I can put them right in the water. You don't even know your hand's in there. But just like I was saying, I was just shaking that spoon and that fish came up and absolutely smoked it. And I think that's why I missed it the first time. It's not a very big one. But those sharp hooks too help out a lot. There we go. Fun little guy. He'll be a big guy someday. So here's what I was talking about on that spoon. You've just got this little blade on there. Now I know that doesn't seem like a big deal, but when you shake this and that starts fluttering around, I mean, if they're looking for a minnow and you've got the scent on the end of the hook, boy, just that little bit of flash makes a huge difference. Like I was saying before I got interrupted, you know, I've got a 34-inch Scepter carbon, and I like that little bit longer rod. It's not as long as Jason's, but I do like that for the leverage. Get a good hook set in deep water, and then just a good spinning reel on there. People ask me all the time, like, do you ever use bait casting reels? And no, 100% no, because we're fishing outside so much that a bait caster will freeze up, that pawl will freeze up and everything. So spinning is the way to go. And then the line that I've got on here is just an 8-pound mono. And I'm running a fluorocarbon leader on there, which honestly I don't think is that important, but I really do like the abrasion resistant qualities of that fluorocarbon. But I do like the little bit of stretch that the monofilament provides too. You don't miss a lot of fish.
So my bait of choice, and I like to mod a little bit, but to just really move to a single hook, just basic lead head with that really strong glow paint. And I've modded it out with rattles. I don't know where I get them, but anytime I see them or can find them or steal them off other baits, I will. So this actually right now on my jig with I've got 3 different rattle chambers on there. And then I will add that crayfish scent along with the chunked up minnows. And then my cadence when I'm fishing these, I mean, every night varies. Tonight was kind of a dead stick thing, a little bit different. But for the most part, I'm getting down to the bottom and I'm just shaking it right on the bottom and let those rattles work, let those fish come in, and a lot of times I won't even mark the fish. They'll just come in and grab it right off the bottom. I'll just, oh, there's one, and I'll set the hook. Every once in a while I like to lift it up a couple feet to see if anything rises and follows my bait up. And obviously I'll play with the fish then if I get something coming in, but then I'll just drop it right back down, let it hit the bottom hard, and continue to shake. I would say that's about 80% of my fishing is just that. That's my cadence. That's what I'm doing with that bait. Making that rattle make noise, letting that glow be seen, and try to bring those fish in.
So one thing I love about this area we're fishing in particular is that we're not in overly deep water. I'm in 22 feet right here, and every lake is different in terms of the depth that you'll find those fish. But I think people have the misconception with eelpout that they're a super, super hardy fish, when in reality, you do need to treat them with some care. And if you get over that like 35-foot depth, they can experience barotrauma. I don't think it's to the same degree as other fish like crappie, for instance, but it definitely is a thing. And with ice fishing, you can't really see the effect that barotrauma has on the fish after the fact. You can let the fish go and it can swim away and you think everything's good, but you can have delayed mortality. And just as important, catch and release is making sure that you're not catching them out of a depth so deep that even if your intent is good in letting them go, that they're going to ultimately die.
So we just jumped in the truck and I just wanted to touch on locations, where we're fishing and why we're fishing there. You can see we're on this inside corner and up on this flat. Now these fish, when they spawn, are going to come up onto this flat, nice hard bottom, and that's where they're going to spawn, and they're going to be staging in these depths. So we picked this as a nice funnel for them to come up to, and that's where we're keying in tonight to fish. Earlier in the season and even post-spawn, I'll simply just slide deeper and be out into this corner more in a little bit deeper water is where we would fish. But now as they're spawning and they're coming up a little bit, we're just fishing a little bit shallower tonight. With this large flat, a guy can really jump around and fish some different spots because they are going to be spread out and spawning in different areas. And wait, Jace. Wow. Jason's hooked up. We better go check it out.
That one was aggressive.
Good bite?
Yeah. came up and smoked. Are you gonna get your hands wet for me?
Maybe.
I got these really nice waterproof gloves on, but
Give me one.
don't get hooked on the bottom of the hole. Oh, is it coming up backwards?
Oh, I see it. I
Oh,
don't want to get a hook in my hand.
don't lose this fish. This is the biggest one I've ever caught. Oh, that's not a bad fish at all. Hello, buddy.
Eat your bait.
That's a nice fish.
It is a nice fish. Come here.
Oh,
Do you have any tools?
I do.
Oh, never mind.
Is-
Do you want to hold your fish or should
no, no, my hands are dry. Look at the belly on that thing.
A good one.
Oh, that is pretty.
Got a little character to him. Look, he's got a little spot by his head.
That way, if we catch it next time,
Well, no.
we'll know. I also name him
What's his name?
Larry,
Oh, nice.
Eelpout. That way we can know too.
Larry. There, you chunky
Look
monkey.
at how scratchy it is on its belly too. A little bit. Not a ton, but a little bit.
Pretty fish.
Pretty fish.
Kind of like point at it and stuff.
Point to the, yeah.
Got his little marks. You get some black dots on him. A lot of character on this one. That's what I love about them. Everyone looks completely different.
Would you say like a snowflake
Just like a snowflake, except a fish.
or like a fingerprint?
Alright, turn it around and like kind of just come in closer to each other and then
You want my headlamp on?
you could turn it on as you're talking.
Yeah. Are we closing this out?
Yeah, let's close it out.
Well, Jace, it's been a pleasure fishing with you as always. We never have any fun.
We always need more time.
I know.
Unfortunately, we have jobs that we have to go to tomorrow.
Yep.
I'd love to stay all night.
I do too. But
hey,
it's a school night.
yeah,
It's a school night, so
it's a nice fish to end it.
yeah.
And it's good that I caught the last one.
Yeah, that's about right. You had the hot hand tonight.
It's a good night.
It was a good night.
We didn't catch a bajillion, but we caught a few. I'm covered with slime.
I get you. I get you. That's what I brought extra rags for. We don't have any fun out here chasing
Oh
Eelpout.
man, I look forward to it every single time.
Me too.
You're
Should we
not
do it
too
again
bad.
tomorrow?
I might need a nap first, but yes,
Yeah.
100%.
Awesome.
Let's come back.